Hello again. I'm Porter,
And I'm Penny,
and this is Gripping Iron.
gripping iron.
We're supposed to say that
I
together.
don't know. We're just trying it.
So, we just want to do, another video real quick, and this will be a much shorter one. Really, kind of touch and base this idea of what I call Penny doesn't like it, the word, but what I call Mormon activism. And I think there's just a change that needs to happen, that should happen, that is trying to happen. I don't know why saints have such a hard time opening their mouths about things. We love the gospel. We love our gospel. We are missionary minded people. We but yet we have to really be in a really safe place in order to open our there's so many times where we want to have a missionary experience with somebody. We've been thinking and praying about this person. We've been just getting hit. Yeah, we need to talk to this person. We need to talk to this person. And it goes on for years where we're tempted to have a missionary experience. And then finally, one day, either that opportunity goes away or we do finally open up our mouth. Or what happens sometimes is, hey, somebody else talks to me. I think your church is great. And it's like, oh, I know, I wanted to do that. Dang damn it. So it's this idea of being more active in voice.
Right. So for me, I'm a pretty quiet person. I'm much more quiet than my husband. You can tell in the videos. Much more projected his voice, much more. Um, for me, I'm a little more shy. I'm a little more introverted, and I think that for me, the idea of activism, I just have this viewpoint of what that is. And then, of course, with Mormon in front of it, we're not even supposed to use that word anymore. So you put Mormon activism together, it makes me shudder a little bit. But I understand where he's coming from as far as I kind of like to think about it as remember when the Book of Mormon play came out? And it was
Yes.
just this big deal and it was all over the place. And we knew that there was going to be this big, goofy, like project out there that was going to skew how people saw Latter day Saints. And we knew that that was going to be out there. And so the church, instead of just sitting back and
Yeah.
letting that happen, kind of took control of the situation and they started the um, I'm a Mormon campaign where people were doing the videos, and then
Ad
they
space.
bought ad space,
Most
and
brilliant move
I
ever.
know, and they sent missionaries to be on the outside of the plays and the
Yeah.
venues, and that is positive to me. Man, it was just brilliant the way they went about
And it wasn't
it.
like a direct confrontation. It was like
No, it was an
yeah, that was
invitation.
cool. Check this
Yeah,
out,
it was an invitation, not a confrontation. Yeah.
It's a difference between standing and fighting a wave
Mhm.
or surfing the
Mhm.
wave.
So I think when I think of activism, I think of that. I think of those two rams going at it and going after each other. Whereas, um, I think just being there with a positive message is all we really need to be is have that positive message. Not going and I know that you wouldn't either. Not ever going after the anti groups or anything
Oh,
like
I don't
that.
know.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't.
I would
Because you're not
sound
supposed to.
stupid doing it, but boy, it's such a
Yeah,
temptation.
I don't know if we're supposed to engage in that so much, but
Probably not.
I mean to just make available a positive counter
Yes.
to the thoughts and ideas that are out there.
Yes. So I guess the idea is this, right? Think of if every this is why I left the church video was put out there. There's that temptation to put out a comment in that video to say you're wrong and this is how I feel. Okay, I don't know if that gets us that far.
It doesn't.
If we more go about it saying, oh, geez, that's awful that you've had that experience. I guess I certainly have not had that experience. I am grateful that I've had the experiences I've had. And then that opens the door to talk about comments. Now, of course, whenever you do that, you'll get 10 people who will bash you, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've all seen those because they're anti-activists, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's people out there that they want nothing more than to just put stones in people's way, and that's okay. We can allow them to define themselves. It's once again that idea of when I listen to pro LDS people podcasts and stuff like that, there's such a great demeanor about them. When I listen to the anti guys, oh, they define themselves, right? I don't have to listen to them very long before, oh, I know who you are now. I see what you're doing. And that comes out real quick with their tone, with the way they skew things, with the way they'll take something and make it negative. It's amazing how they do that. So we can go, it's almost better to see that kind of reaction and to get that kind of vehemency and just kind of kill them with kindness, kill them with a good positive message.
I think it's important to understand different personality types. So for me to go onto social media and engage at all with those people, that would not be healthy for me to like read negative, not only to spend too much time listening to what they actually had to say, but then to actually engage in any kind of conversation. I do not do well with conflict. I don't do well with people saying mean things to me or anything like that. I don't want to wither. You know what I mean? I want to stay strong. So I would stay away from that. I would post my own positive, and I wouldn't have any problem defending my positive video or my positive comments. But I don't know that I would walk in their yard and like tell them what to do in their space. I don't think I'd be comfortable with that. I would want to keep my own space and like parallel it, not necessarily crossover.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
For me, that would be a safer place for me. It'd make me feel more like I could express myself than going into their space, their bubble.
So in the comments below, help us out on a couple of things. Help us get a better label for what we're talking about here. For promoting an idea of putting out messages, whether it's your own YouTube channel, Facebook page, whatever.
Defenders of the faith.
Commenting positively about things. Give us a better term than Mormon activism. That's just the most accurate term I can think of, but you feel free to PR that for me. And then also help us come up with better ideas and more ideas on how to be actively defenders of the faith, not defenders of the faith, but promoters of the faith, right?
Because we don't need to defend it.
Right.
It
stands on its own.
Again, that's
right?
just not the right word.
The Book of Mormon does not need me to defend it, right? It stands on its own.
Yeah.
And nobody's going, oh, I thought it was bunk until Porter said something. And now I'm all, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
So just to be able to, what was the word I used?
Promote it?
Promote. Yeah, promote. Because once again, listen, if they can feel comfortable slamming things, we can certainly feel comfortable highlighting things. Perfect example. I've watched several people now talk about, they never told me this when I was raised in the church. I never knew this. This was always such a secret. And maybe that was the case. I don't know where they were raised. But I guarantee you there was no topic that wasn't touched on when I was raised as in the church. There was nothing that was ever a surprise to me. Maybe if there would be like one or two things, by the time I got to those one or two things, it didn't matter. There was just so many other, oh, okay. That's no big deal at all.
Yeah, I know that, especially like the seer and the hat.
Yeah.
All seer stones. I heard about that when I was very young.
That wasn't
and
new.
It wasn't
the focus
showed to me as like, guess what?
Right.
This happened. It wasn't like, but now it's being presented as this big, super secret, crazy thing. And back then it was just told to us matter of factly. That was part of the story. So I think that it's been aggrandized by people who want
villainized,
to oppose it, I guess.
Whatever.
And it's not.
So it's just that idea, once again, of putting out a counter thing. So give us some good comments here. And then just once again, wanted to touch on why and promote this idea of posting anonymously. Listen, I am a big proponent of setting up a fake Facebook page just so you can post religious things, just so you can post comments to other people's things that in a protected way. I don't see any problem with that at all. And you can be creative with it. I would never get negative with it, of course. Always be positive. Always be the light, not the bushel. But yeah, I would really suggest the anonymous part of it. Once again, both Penny and I are in public trust jobs that you don't want any static coming up in the future about maybe some post that you put down or something like that. And anonymity gives you the ability to do that. Anonymity gives you the ability to talk about things that are hot button topics in a way in which, if they want to get ticked off, they'll get ticked off at a ghost.
Well, in our life stories, there's things in our life stories that we could share anonymously that we probably wouldn't share publicly.
Absolutely. And that's a huge part
I'm
of it
hoping
too.
that will be for everyone, right?
Yes.
That everyone will have that freedom to share with us some really hard things that they've gone through, and some things that have been testimony, maybe stumbling blocks for them, or things
Yes.
that they've pulled out of, or difficult times, and be free to share those because their face isn't on camera.
Just think of for a person who's gone through a really painful experience that you don't want your neighbors to know, your coworkers to know, but you know this is a painful experience that others could benefit from. Posting anonymously is the way to do that, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, and all, you know, we're overrun by pictures and people putting their best face out there on Facebook, and their edited photos, and their, you know, all of their filters and all that kind of stuff. This is a place where we can not have to filter. We don't have to show our faces. We don't have to look perfect. We don't have to be perfect. We can really talk about who we are, and it has nothing to do with the photograph.
And make mistakes.
And make mistakes.
And be corrected. And that's okay.
And that's okay.
And that's good.
All right.
So once again, I'm Porter.
And I'm Penny.
And we're glad that you're listening to a little bit. We encourage you to go ahead and continue listening, but listen to some of these other podcasts that we've mentioned, because they're better at this than we are. But more than anything, just stay active, stay listening. Always have something playing in the background that promotes faith. Because if it's not that, then it's going to be something else.
White knuckle that rod.
White knuckle that rod. That's good. I like that.